I see him. I'll bring him in. Oh,
Thank you.
I see John. These people are in the attendee. I'm bringing him in. I see him. I'll bring him in. Oh, I see John. These people are in the attendee. I'm bringing him in. Okay, the time is 5:30. We're going to get started with this meeting of the Park and Rec Committee. My name is Todd Schmidt. I'm the village administrator, and I'm going to be helping I'm going to be serving as technical advisor today. So I'm no longer village administrator at the moment. I'm your technical advisor for the next however long this meeting goes. We are streaming live on Zoom. I did see a number of people who are participating. I'm going to be checking where there may be some committee members who are stuck in attendee status as opposed to participant status. And I'll be working at making some of those modifications as we go. I'm aware of at least one and Gary Herzberg. And I think maybe Susan Brown. So don't worry, I'll pull you in as a participant shortly. But I want to go over a few basics for those who are participating. And by the way, we're also running live on YouTube. And if we don't already, we will shortly have the streaming on the village's Facebook Live channel. So a few instructions for the public who is participating or watching right now. Welcome. We're glad you could join us. There are a few things to be aware of as we work our way through this meeting. That's one, that attendees are always muted. You're unable to unmute yourself. So again, I'm not talking to the participants or presenters. I'm specifically talking to the public who are attending. Although there is a public comment section included on the agenda. Comments are limited to 1 minute per attendee, and I'm able to provide the attendee with the ability to speak at the meeting. So if you're participating by using the Zoom application, what you probably have already seen is that there's a little hand somewhere on your screen that you can click that means raise hand. So when the chair opens the meeting for public comment, you are welcome to, if you care to speak, you're welcome to raise that hand, and then I will select you in the order that they've been raised. The other option is, sorry, just checking something. The other option is if you're dialing in by phone into the Zoom meeting, obviously you don't have the ability to raise your hand. What I would like you to do in that case, if you care to participate with a public comment, is to, at this point, in a moment, hang up from this meeting, dial 608-850-2182. The village's executive assistant, Kylie West, will take your call, will record your phone number, and then you can re-enter the meeting as you did at first. I can then identify your phone number on my end of the system, and then when it comes to public comments, I will give you the opportunity to speak. But except for those that public comment item on the agenda, there will be no additional public comments after that portion of the agenda this evening. So for the members of the committee and our presenters, a few basic reminders. One, you are muted automatically. I'll try to keep on tabs on that. And if I see people forget to remute after they participate, I'll be sort of remuting folks as the meeting goes along. But you'll need to unmute yourself when you're ready to participate, vote, or present. All votes, by the way, are going to be taken by roll call. Sue McDade will be making the roll call when votes come up, but be sure to remember when your name is called for your vote to unmute so you can respond and then remute. With that, to Chairperson Willems, I'll turn the meeting over to you to call the meeting to order, and then Sue to complete the roll call. It's all yours, Phil. Remember to unmute, Phil.
Okay, welcome. Sue, do you have the roll call?
Susan Brown.
Oh, wait, give me a moment. Let me double check. I'm gonna have to remove this screen. I gotta stop the share here. I do believe Susan Brown is here. I'll mark her as in attendance, but I'm moving her to the panelist side of things. So she is present.
Got it. Bob Coury.
Here.
Susan Rather.
Good afternoon.
Gary Hertzberg.
He is also in attendee status. I'm at this moment promoting him to panelist, so he should be participating shortly. There I see both the Brown family and Gary Hertzberg are in. Just to confirm, Susan, can you please unmute and make sure we can hear you?
I'm here. I don't know why
Very
my
good.
picture isn't showing.
I just see a big B.
Yeah, me too.
But-
I'm not doing that.
All right. Well, thank you, Susan. We have you. Gary,
Yeah.
and you can remute. Gary, can you unmute and let us know if we can hear you? Gary, give that another shot. Gary, I'll unmute you, Gary.
How about now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you.
All
Okay,
right.
back to
Chris
you guys.
Zellner. Chris Zellner.
Here.
Phil Willems
Here.
and John Pomerank.
Here.
Wow. Okay, we can go ahead. I'd like to make a motion that we approve the minutes of the March 4th meeting. Do we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed,
Wait.
same sign?
Folks, we're gonna be doing roll call on the motions recall, so
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry.
turn that over to Sue, Phil.
All right. Phil Willems.
Aye.
Chris Zellner.
Aye.
Gary Hertzberg.
Aye.
Susan Brown.
Aye.
Susan Rather.
Aye.
Bob Coury.
Aye.
John Pomerank.
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Phil?
Okay. Public comment by anybody about an item that is not on our agenda this evening.
Okay, so I see 3 individuals listed as attendees, none with their hands raised. Give me one moment. I'm going to check to make certain that no phone calls have been placed to Kylie. No public comments today.
Okay, then we'll proceed to item 1 under new business. Consider parks plans for Heritage Hills Phase 1. Sue, you're on deck.
Great. So we have with us the team from Viridian to talk to us about Phase 1 in the Heritage Hills subdivision. That first phase does include a public park. And so Dan Day is going to share a presentation with us with the details of what they have in mind. Dan, it's all yours.
All right, good evening. My name is Dan Day from D'Onofrio Cockey and Associates. Pleased to be here this evening and just appreciate the efforts of everybody to try to make this thing happen, make this meeting happen. So I'll get into the presentation here. Also with me this evening is Brian Munson from Vanderwall Associates, who's the lead planner for the Heritage Hills neighborhood. And then we also have Chris Ellers from Viridian Homes, Vice President of Land Development and Acquisition for Viridian. This evening, we just wanted to get you in front of you the first park, as that is the first implementation of the Heritage Hills neighborhood. On March 20th, the development team submitted the specific implementation plan and final plat for the first portion of the Heritage Hills neighborhood. This concept plan, which I'm assuming everybody can see my screen okay, is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Is basically the same concept that was went through with the preliminary plat and zoning approval in early January. I believe we were in front of your committee in December for this neighborhood. As you know, there is many public and private open spaces through this neighborhood. We are concentrating in the southwest corner of the neighborhood with our first submittal for the final plat and SIP zoning. The area that we are discussing this evening and what we submitted for a final plat approval is in the red boundary right here. So this includes the far southwest corner on Main Street and Division here. We'll be implementing a stormwater management basin in this zone and then implementing some single family and 2-family residences in the this area of the plat. Within that area, the plat is the first public park as part of the implementation of the entire plan. That park is the green fronting park, and I'll get into a little more detail in this southwest corner. If you may recall, the central park here in the middle of the neighborhood is meant for more of the large format play areas similar to soccer or lacrosse or something along those lines. This park in the southwest corner of the neighborhood is meant more for smaller game type things and for smaller children and that type of thing. The proposed park plan that we've submitted for review by the staff and by committees and by the village board, this is the Outlot 5 park. Yes, we will come up with a better name eventually, but right now it's the Outlot 5 of this first plat for Heritage Hills. This is an implementation again of the concepts that were presented back at the Parks Committee when we met before. This park is zeroed in on more of a smaller format. It's about an 1.5 acre park. It consists of 4 basic elements to it. We have a fairly large play equipment area here on the eastern side of the park, along with a 24-foot diameter wide gazebo, along with a seating area on the west side of the park. And then we have an open field play area here. That open field play area is not meant for organized sports, but can be used for throwing the ball, throwing the frisbee, kicking the soccer ball around for smaller age type children, or even larger age type children, that's fine too, but it's not meant as a large format soccer field per se. This park is bounded by Hillcrest Drive extension on the south side, which would be a typical city street cross section. And then on the east side is Cane Crossing, which also will be a typical city village street with sidewalks on both sides of those streets. The little bit unusual part of this is a green fronting park. So we have lots that have alley service in the back for garages that then the homes then face out to this park. It is a feature that is very, we feel is a very important part of this neighborhood, and will provide a tremendous space, I think, here for this park. To give you a little context, We have implemented this at least 2 other areas in Dane County, and probably more than that, but 2 more on this size of scope of things. This is the image of the Linden Park neighborhood on the west side of Madison that Viridian we implemented about 15 years ago. And this is a very similar size setup, very similar size park with public street on one side, on 2 sides, with the homes with green fronting lots and alleys in the rear, with the garage access in the rear coming out to a sidewalk here with a playground area and a little I think that's a little gazebo up in here, but then just an small open field play area for general recreation. We also have another one of these on the east side of Madison in the Grandview Commons neighborhood. Again, set up very similar with streets on 2 sides, and then green fronting lots with alley access in the back. Again, a gazebo here, fountain, which we're not doing a fountain, and then a playground area, and then just an open field play. These are very, very popular parks, and a lot of times we see these parks being utilized more than what we do on the large public parks, especially on a day-to-day basis, besides the Saturday morning soccer crowd that you might see at the big, large regional parks. Just to get into a few of the elements of the park itself and get into a little bit more detail, the gazebo is a 24-foot diameter, as I explained. It'll all be low maintenance type materials, including metal framing here for the lower part of the gazebo, and then a standing seam metal roof. On the underside of the metal roof will be a tongue and groove cedar plank wood that will be installed there. The open space also includes the playground area, which will include a farm themed, barn themed type play structure. I've got some more details on that here in a second. That will be have 4 swing sets, a couple other small horse play things, and then the play area itself. What we were proposing, and these are some images that we received within the last week or so from Gerber and Landscape Structures, who are helping us with these amenities. Again, these will be a red themed for the farm tradition heritage here at the neighborhood. Just a couple more images from this, from the images that we have on this park equipment. Again, fairly simple, but also very intentional of the theming for it. A couple other things to add into here, the seating area here, and also we're providing some benches here. These will definitely be a low maintenance bench, no wood benches. There'll be more powder coated metal along that type, color yet to be determined. The lighting, we will be providing some bollard lighting along the sidewalk from the front of the homes. That's probably going to be about 4 of those bollard lights, just kind of as a destination kind of lighting. Lighting in the park will be only with a light actuated by a movement that would be in the gazebo itself. I believe that pretty much wraps up our presentation for this. We're just extremely excited about the implementation of this from a timing standpoint. We submitted here recently, we were looking for the Park Commission's recommendation to the village board about these improvements. We are planning on being in front of the Plan Commission and village board in the coming weeks, in the month of April here. And then we're looking for implementation and then starting of construction for phase 1 of this development, starting approximately July 1, so that we can get our first phase of construction done this fall. We expect this park to be improved this fall and probably open sometime early in the calendar year 2021, once the grass gets well established next year. So we're again, as the Viridian team, we are extremely excited about getting this neighborhood kicked off. Obviously, things are a little bit different today than they were 4 weeks ago, but this is still a very high priority and for Viridian, and it's as things move along here through the interesting times that we are in. So I guess that ends my presentation, Sue, and I guess we are open for questions unless Brian or Chris wanted to add anything else to the presentation, what I've done so far.
Let me just add real quick in terms of further discussion on this item. I stopped your screen sharing, as you could tell, Dan.
Yep.
If anybody wants those images back brought up with questions, please do that, Dan. But if committee members, while that are up, if it changes from one committee member to the other while the map is showing or an exhibit, please introduce yourself verbally prior to making your comments, so we can be aware of who's speaking at what time.
Thank you, Todd. Committee members, raise your hand, try to get our attention so we can get some input from you, please. Bob.
I have a comment and then a question. So as long as I'm talking, let me do both. I like this design. I just want to comment, make sure Viridian does a very good job of providing pedestrian crossing across Hillcrest Drive. Looks like single family homes along the bottom. The two pictures you showed of comparable neighborhoods here in Dane County, I was trying to make out what kind of street markings. Hillcrest Drive looks like it's going to be a pretty busy road, and I'm just right up front telling you to make sure that the street crossing that you implement is adequate to take care of kids running into this park. Just a comment, just a thought, make sure that's on your agenda. My only question is, go ahead.
No, just to iterate on that quick, if I can, we will certainly work with Kevin and other village staff to highlight that and say that, I think it's fairly obvious looking at the two images that I supplied that, street crossings obviously are definitely important near parks. So.
You came to ask us, so that seemed important to me. My other question was, as far as the gazebo is concerned, is that something that people are going to reserve through the Parks Department? And I don't care one way or the other. I was just curious to know if that will be something reservable through the village.
I would guess not, Bob. We only reserve shelters that have restrooms included in them. And since this is an open air and a day use gazebo, I would not anticipate it would be available for rent.
Sounds great.
Okay, anyone else? Mr. Hertzberg? Nothing from Gary. Mr. Zellner?
Okay, two questions for me. One, the playground equipment that you've proposed there, is that, what age groups is that designed for, that you're planning for?
Yeah, I'm sorry. I should have mentioned that, Chris. This is designed for the 2 to 5 age group, as this is meant for the smaller children park. The central park in the middle of the neighborhood will be more geared towards the upper age when we get to that park design in that area.
Okay, and then the other question was for the gazebo. I'm assuming that's going to be maintenance-free materials that's built from, or what are you anticipating for that?
Yes, definitely maintenance-free materials. I mean, we're not, we have metal, the structure will be all metal painted. The standing seam metal roof will have paint on it also. And then the underneath of the gazebo will be a tongue and groove cedar wood. And it's really the village's choice, the staff's choice, whether they want that just natural or if they want it stained. So we'll let Sue and staff and Bill make that choice.
Okay, thank you. Bill, do you have any questions or problems with it, or that sounds good?
Hi, for me?
For Bill Fredericks.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, yeah, we met and talked, I believe it was yesterday, and I pretty much got a lot of my concerns addressed there. And I guess, so we're not powder coating the gazebo, it's going to be painted, is that what I'm understanding?
Bill, I think we're open up for either one of those. So we can have that discussion when we get closer to the ordering of the materials, which would be preferable from the village's maintenance standpoint. So let's talk a little bit more in detail when we take the next steps with that.
Sounds good.
Okay, from my standpoint, I have a couple of questions. I see you have wood mulch. We prefer rubber for the
Yes.
playground.
You are correct. That is an incorrect label on there. We were in discussions with Sue and Bill over the last few days, understand that any approval is going to be requiring your typical cross-section, which is the rubber mulch.
Okay, and the second one is these paths that go from one side of the park to the other. Those work out better for Mr. Bill if they're 8 feet wide, correct, Bill? Bill?
Sorry about that. I was trying to hit my thing there. Yeah, we discussed the 8-foot path going through the park.
Okay, that satisfies me. Any other committee members? Wave your hand. Unmute. John Pomeranke.
Okay, that path that leads up to there, will that be blacktop or concrete or what would that be? What's the norm around here?
We had envisioned these to be 5 or 6 foot wide concrete. If we go to 8 foot wide, it would probably be asphalt if they would be 8 foot wide.
I was just curious. And once again, what's the actual acreage of this park?
The actual acreage is about 1.5 acres. The 2 other examples I gave you were actually just a little bit bigger than that, and then just a little bit smaller. One was 1.3 and the other one was 1.8 acres.
Okay, I was just curious. I have them in my notes somewhere, but I can't find them. Okay.
Thank you, John. Anyone else?
Yes.
Either of the Sues?
Phil, this is Todd again. One thing I wanted to try and do, the 3 people watching, one of them is our village attorney, Brian Kleinmeyer, who I'll admit was a plant. I wanted him to participate as an attendee so we could work out some of these, some of the systems and get used to this new process for us. But Brian, in fact, raised his hand, and I'm very proud of him. So I'm just gonna have Brian, I'm gonna experiment allowing him to talk, and then he'll pop back off. So, all right, Brian, you raised your hand. Here you go. Brian, can you hear us? You are muted at the moment.
I can hear you. I just raised my hand just to give you the opportunity to try out bringing somebody in.
That's great. Thanks for playing along.
All right,
Have
see
a
you
good-
later.
Have a good night.
Okay, we've had some fairly good discussion, and just to try this, I'm going to make a motion that we approve the Outlot 5 park plans for Heritage Hills. Do we have a second?
I'll make a second. This is Gary.
Gary? Okay, any discussion? Hearing none, roll call for the question. I vote aye.
Bill Willems is an aye.
Yes,
Chris
ma'am.
Zellner,
Aye.
Gary Hertzberg,
Aye.
John Pomerank,
Aye.
Susan Rather,
Aye.
Susan Brown,
Aye.
and Bob Curry.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Wonderful. Now we'll move on. Thanks, guys, from Viridian.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Phil, very much. We really appreciate you and the staff and everybody working to try to make this happen. And like I said, if there's questions as we go along, feel free to ask. Thank you.
Okay, our first flight, wonderful. Okay, item 2, consider schematic designs for Northridge Park Shelter. Sue, you're up again.
All right, so we have Jacob Himmelman and Doug Powell from Arrow Eberly with us tonight. This is the park shelter being built in Northridge Park. Just a reminder that 2020 is our year for design and bidding. 2021 will be our year for construction. Tonight, what we are hoping to get committee approval on is the structure of the facility. And I say that specifically because I want to make sure we all understand that there is still time to talk about things like colors, the exact type of stone that might be on the outside of the building, and some of those finishes. But really tonight, what we want to talk about is the size, the scope, and the architectural features of the shelter. And with that, I'm going to hand it over to Jacob. He's got some information up on your screen, and we'll let you go.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much. Let's start here with the site plan. Can everyone see my screen? Everything is good? Okay.
Yeah.
So there are 4 key elements to the Northridge Park, and these really shaped the design and placement of the shelter. There's the playground and the tennis courts over here to the west, and the parking lot, and then the entrance to the park here at the south. And then on the east side, we have the ball fields over here. And we really wanted a shelter that was welcoming from all of these sides. So here the floor plan consists of a men's toilet room and a women's toilet room with a utility mechanical chase in between, and then a covered area that accommodates 6 picnic tables. Here you can see how the roof structure creates really a welcoming approach no matter which direction you are in the park. The base of the shelter is a durable concrete block, and then the columns are clad in a cultured stone, and then the siding up above and then the ceiling material is cedar. These 2 options that we're going to look at here first have a composition roof. And really the materials and proportion of this project draw their inspiration from other buildings in the village, such as Village Park and the Village Center.
Jacob, I'm going to jump in here.
Yeah.
We can only see the cover page.
Well, that's because it says that my screen sharing is paused. So.
Oh, good. I thought it was me.
So I was saying all these things and you couldn't see what I was talking about.
Yeah,
True.
Jacob, I'm going to stop your sharing and then reshare, okay?
Okay.
All right, go ahead with sharing a different screen. Hopefully this works.
What about now?
Oh, good.
Nice.
Oh,
Better.
look at that. Well, let's start from the beginning. So here we have the site plan that I was discussing, and the tennis court and playground over here, and the ball field to the other side. And then we'll recap. Here's the floor plan with the 2 toilet rooms and the utility space and the picnic area beyond. And then here we go. Now we can see how the roof structure really creates that welcoming approach. And let's see, where are we at here? So this option B is really very similar to option A. It's just trying to show that we have the opportunity for some contrast between the ceiling material and the concrete block, and also just shows a different tone of concrete block as well. And then with some additional conversations with the village, we're continuing to refine the design. And then these options C and D really just show a few material changes. Namely, one of them is a standing seam metal roof. And we're also exploring utilizing a different material kind of between the 2 toilet rooms. So in this space right here, in this option, we're showing a different tone of concrete block. And then we're also showing an opportunity to put the village logo up on this portion as well. And then the last option, option D, is just another study in looking at a different material and kind of the window placement and just looking at what best complements the design. And then lastly, in this spot, we have in between the 2 bathrooms, showing a cultured stone as just another option to kind of break up this facade when you're looking straight on at the park shelter from the entrance. So that concludes what we've come up with and what our schematic design looks like at this time. So if you have any questions, please let me know.
Hey, Phil, this is Todd. One quick suggestion, just so we don't miss a member of your committee as you seek comments. I would name off each committee member for their comments, even if they don't have any of that, make sure we don't accidentally miss someone in the process, if that's okay with you.
Oh, we'll try.
All right.
Okay, we'll start first with Susan Rather, if she has anything.
I do not.
Bob, carried.
Pass.
Okay, Sue Brown,
Looks good to me.
Chris Zeldner, who's got a statue in the middle of the house there. Chris?
That's me, not a statue, but okay. Sorry, maybe I wasn't blinking enough. One question I had is the windows. Do we see any problem potential with windows being on the inside like that? Or is there a way we could maybe incorporate that into the roof line? I'm assuming that's trying to just get natural light into the bathrooms?
Correct. Yeah, we're just trying to add some natural light in here. These actually would be made out of plexiglass most likely. So, you know, you're not gonna have to worry about them breaking as easily as a standard glass window. By keeping them on the facade and not up on the roof, we don't have to worry about leaking and stuff of skylights down the road, not dealing with that kind of maintenance issue.
Okay, that was it for my only comment.
Gary Hertzberg. Gary, anything?
Well, I think from the meeting we had, Phil, I mean, I really like the things they've changed and I like the looks of the building. So I'm good.
John Pomeranke.
It looks good to me, guys. I'm just looking at this one page here and it shows asphalt shingles. Now, they are gonna go more with the metal roofing, correct?
I think that's our intention. I think we just wanted to look at an option without the metal, standing metal, if we came to a budget situation and we had to find something that was more fitting with the price that we needed to match. But you know, we were successful in finding a standing seam metal that met our budget with the Meadowbrook shelter. So I think that should be an option for this as well.
Okay, and I have one more question. I noticed like at Meadowbrook, when we toured that, there was no gutters on there. And I just think that in order to prevent ice building up on a path where people may tend to go there in the colder weather, would there be some type of a gutter so that the stuff from the roof wouldn't just drip on the path?
I think we could definitely look into that. I think this style of roof, you know, we should be able to come up with something in a gutter that would.
Yeah, just where the traffic is, you know what I'm saying? That's what I think. You don't want a little kid running up there and hitting a patch of ice. And,
yeah, exactly.
and losing some teeth.
No, certainly not.
No, that's it for me.
Thank you, John. Bill Frederick, you're right there. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm good. I mean, we've gone through it all. I guess I get the idea or understand John's with the gutters and things. But at the same token, it would add to somewhat of a maintenance, especially as the trees get bigger, you got leaf issues and things like that. And I understand the ice thing, but most of these things will be shut down in the winter.
Yeah.
Okay.
Shoveled, so.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. I've got a lot of experience with metal roofs, and we don't seem to have any problems with them. We're able to solve all this stuff about ice building up on the sidewalks at the restaurants. So I think it's pretty workable. If there's no other comments, I'd like to make a motion to approve the schematic designs for the Northridge Park shelter.
Second.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Sue, would you call the roll?
Sue, you're unmuted.
Here we go. Phil Willems,
Yes.
Chris Zellner,
Yes.
Gary Hertzberg,
Yes.
John Pomerank,
Yes.
Susan Rather,
Aye.
Susan Brown,
Yes.
Bob Curry.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you, guys. There's any correspondence, Sue? None.
There is none.
Good.
One
Nope.
note, Sue, for your minutes. I would note that trustee Zitzelberger participated as an attendee. And then myself and Kylie West as additional staff, or in addition to Bill and yourself.
Okay.
Oh, Jeff Hi, Jeff.
Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn.
I'll second.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call. Phil Willems, yes.
Chris Zellner,
Yes.
Gary Hertzberg,
Yes.
John Pomerank,
Yes.
Susan Rather,
Yes.
Susan Brown,
Yes.
Bob Curry.
Yes.
Folks, it's been a ball. Thank you for participating.
Appreciate
You're
y'all helping
welcome.
us guinea pig this thing. Nice
Good night,
work.
everybody.
Good night.
Good night.
Hey,
See you at the next meeting.
okay.
Bye-bye.
Signing off. Signing off.